Most founders pitch like they are the hero, but the ones that get funded, they know how to position themselves as the guide and make investors and their customers the hero. In this episode, I sat down with 3 other women VCs to unpack the narrative shift that shortens the trust curve and speeds up funding. This is the 3rd part of our 3-part series. If you ever felt like your pitch is strong but still not landing, this is the episode you didn't know you needed. Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Rombach, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability. Before we dive into today's expert conversation, I want to pause for a minute and talk directly to the innovators in the room, especially if you're preparing for a raise or aim to land a pivotal partnership this year. Your pitch isn't just a story, it's a strategy. And if you're still guessing what investors or decision makers want to hear, you're already behind. That's exactly why we built Pitch to Yes. We don't just critique your pitch, we co-create it with you. You will walk away with a persuasion scorecard and a written pitch that turns attention into action. Apply at pitchtoyes.com. Now let's dive into today's conversation.
I love that. And I think that clarity and heart definitely is what has gotten me here today, in the sense of I really saw DFX as the next obstacle for me in my career and my entrepreneurship journey that was actually doing a difference in the world. And so I really appreciate all of you women, because you guys are making such an impact, not only on my journey, but everyone on this call today. So I know everyone has really busy schedules. We're going to jump into a Q&A. Kat, if you want to kick that off.
So we had a few questions from the audience. The first one from Jared. Do we make us or our company the hero, or do we make the customer the hero?
You have to make everyone a hero, but you have to start from yourself, because if you think about the recognizable brand, it's all about what is the hero or shero's journey. And when we start putting ourselves into the storyline, so one of the quick way that we leverage speaking as a stage to sell or fundraise is that we always create an open heart. That open heart is what everyone has shared today, is that emotional tie and communication and engagement to hook people in. Because at the end of the day, we're just human. And we all live our lives despite of our journey, our achievement, alkali, whatnot, right? And then same thing, a lot of people in medicine or scientific community, we're very much in the way of, we have all these letters, we're continue to learn, right? But how is that translating into a result that people actually understand who you are? So for me, about 6 years ago, when I started public speaking and launched my podcast, Provider's Edge, is because I was so burned out. And as a subspecialty for heart surgery is one of the highest burned out field, probably besides neurosurgery. And all those neurosurgeons will debate with me, right? And it's that moment of you put yourself into the spot of thinking, wow, I'm doing something amazing, something good. But I'm keep telling myself, I'm just going to do this now. Once I'm more established, once I'm more ready, then I will back away from putting 80 hours per week and being on call all the time. And because you're so high functioning, and they will say, why would you need an assistant? Why would you need a partner? You should be able to do it. Right. And then it's the same motion and the false belief we have in entrepreneurship is that, oh, Sabrina, what do you mean building scalability day one? Let me just do this first. I'll get back to you later. They're not thinking about framework of stop skipping steps. If you don't have core purpose alignment where your entire company can talk about the story and the goals the same way, you lost people. And if you don't have the right product market fit, means how people, these level 5 people we're talking about, buyers, speak in their own language, and you capture that, and then you build an entire messaging guide. So then you keep connecting with them, you got lost. And if you don't reset yourself on how competitive you are, and then what resource you have in that resilience part that we've been talking about too, right? The ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And that means you're constantly swing yourself out of your desire zone, which is passion and proficient. And that's what gives you grit. And instead of most people start swaying into distraction, discouragement, and the distress zone. And that's when they feel like they're doing something all the time. Oh, I'm speaking here, Sabrina. I'm going to this event. I'm pitching here. And I'm like, wow, all these top of the funnel activities. So are you capturing anybody? Are we converting things? Right? So when you're thinking about doing all this, that is your own hero's journey. How do you want to lead? Do you want to show up in the community as a hero? And what result can you bring? And then who you are representing, and be very, very clear on that, because we know Batman is very different from Superman, right? If you go into watch Superman, but somehow the Batman character comes in, you're like, that's why they're having a fight. So how are you representing yourself, your entire brand, your entire business in the community as a hero? And then when you're solving the problem, you're actually saying, you guys who have these problems, we can flip it. It's not that you don't have enough. Let's put our customers as a hero, because what you're creating is impact. So when you can create impact for them, they also become a hero.
Wow, so eloquently said. Archita, I think that you raised your hand.
Yes, Kat, I'm going to just add to what Sabrina said, because she added a lot of gems there. I want to just give folks a framework, because I love this question and it's such an important question to ask, especially with so many founders on LinkedIn, kind of feeling like they have to tell their story, etc. So the framework I'd kind of suggest is, if you put your customers in the hero seat, you could cast yourself as the guide who equips the hero to win, right? So what might that look like? So your customer, which is your hero, has a costly problem. You're a guide and you hand them this solution, and then the hero overcomes the problem, right? Now your customer has overcome the problem, and now the guide asks for resources with investors to equip 1,000 more of these heroes to win, right? So if you were to be like, hey, we have these designers, they lose 8 hours a month chasing unpaid invoices. That's the hero's struggle, right? When Sabrina mentioned the hero's journey, what's your guide moment? How are you as a company guiding them? We've built this solution, which is a plug and play system. It's helped thousands of designers now get paid in one click, whatever that might be. That's the guide moment. This is how we guide them. And then you take them to traction. And now because of this is the hero's victory.
Real quick, if you're a healthcare founder building in women's health, mental health, digital health, age tech, biotech, diagnostics, or longevity, we built Capital Engine for you. We don't just get you in the room, we make sure you're ready to own it. Our team vets the right investors and potential C-suite operators to help you validate products, run pilot trials, or scale your next revenue partner. Some founders get so much investor interest, they've asked us to slow it down. And whether it takes 2 months or 2 years, we stay with you until your raise is closed with expert advisors who've built and exited healthcare companies themselves. Apply now at Capital Engine VC and let's get to work. All right, let's get back to the second half of our show.
Now, because of just this one click, their average time to say cash or whatever it is less than 30 days. And then you go into hey, investors, now you funding us, let's us arm 100,000 more designers, expand this into other markets, right? So put the customer in the hero seat, but showcase yourself as such a strong guide, and then invite the investors in to help equip other heroes have their hero moments, essentially.
Perfect. Thank you. Jennifer, I don't know if you want to add anything in here.
I love the fact that it's, the one thing Sabrina, the first thing she said was everybody needs to be a hero in your story. And that completely resonates with me, because you can't be successful without the customer. And so it's important that everybody turns out that way. But yeah.
I had one question sent directly to me. So for underrepresented founders with zero existing investor networks, what is your highest conviction playbook move to identify and approach the first aligned capital provider, turning a cold intro into a warm, trust-based relationship?
Let me make sure I understand the question first, right? So I think what we're asking is, how do you take your brand spanking new into the entrepreneurial space? You're an underrepresented founder, which you know the stats are. You don't get as much funding as a serial entrepreneur and a straight white man, right? Well, number one, I think it's like when you're thinking about, fundraising, the number one thing, and you're an underrepresented founder, is finding out who supports. Have actually heard some founders going, I don't want money. I'm a woman founder, but I don't want money from a women founder fund because money is green and I don't need, money from not, a different pocket. I want it from the main sort of bank of that particular VC. But I would venture to say that VCs that understand that space and diverse founders, such as Gangels, right? I already know that if I'm looking at a solo women founder or a women founding team, that I probably am not going to see they're not going to be serial entrepreneurs, right? Or there's a good shot that they're not going to be serial entrepreneurs, right? But for me, then I'm not looking to see if you've taken a company from zero to exit. I'm looking to see if you have experience in the space that you're in, right? Because I understand that women only get 2% of funding. The other thing that I would say is making sure whatever your product is, finding VCs that actually specialize in your stage and in your sort of industry. Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen really great healthcare companies, but because the problem that they're solving is very nuanced, their membership and the partners and the GPs that are making that decision, they don't understand the problem. Like a VC that is in that space every day, they understand the problem, they understand the vernacular. Remember, when you're talking to a venture firm for the first time, especially cold, you may only get 15 to 30 minutes for that initial call. You don't want to have to explain your problem for 20 minutes, right? So that's why I always say in my mind, and some people will disagree, finding a venture firm that actually understands why underrepresented founders are important and why diversity and inclusion is important. And two, finding the VC that specializes in your stage and industry.
I actually had a TED Talk last year just on this topic of underfunding. I discussed 3 myths. I think one of them is very important that Jennifer tapped on is what I call this, the golden cloak of gatekeepers. Right. So sometimes it feels like we just can't break into certain communities that's already set up. However, I always believe we can select and tap into the right ecosystem that are attracted to who we are. Just like the last conversation we had about creating your own hero's journey and being in community, like do exchange network and connected to people who care about these niche areas. One of the things that we do as well is we look into these niche specialty who just care about mental health, just care about diagnostic, just care about women's health, and put them on stage with investors, decision maker who are also in that area, right? So it's really doing a lot of research on where people are at, what they're interested in, and then figure out the people who are already in the space who can do either matchmaking for you or getting into the network who you can find out this information. So you can then tap into that person's buyer persona. There are always a reason why certain people just instantly build trust, but others don't. It's because you haven't tapped into their buyer persona yet. So be able to figure out, we have so many resources out there, right? Like connect with us. We probably can point you in the right direction and doesn't feel like this is an endless resource. You don't know what to start, or I don't even have any resource, right? Either way, that's not true. Is we have to create the right reality and be able to think more abundantly.
And I would like to add something, Kate, if I can. So I definitely really resonate with what Jennifer and Sabrina just said. I think and definitely find mentors, find your peer founders, because maybe there are synergy that you will be able to create together, or even a coach as a start to build your network, especially in the very, very early stage. Don't wait until you need the capital to start thinking about fundraising, because you really want to raise with, options, not out of desperation. So time and time again, I'm speaking with a lot of founders, business owners. This is what I am definitely advising them on. And if everyone can remember this notion, we will always stay in the driver's seat and then get funded in the way that your business can sustain, in the way you want it to be sustainable.
Yeah, very well said. And we have one more question that was directed actually to Jennifer. What non-traditional signal do you now prioritize to gauge investor readiness in underrepresented founders that wasn't valued 3 years ago?
Non-traditional, that's a tough one. Every VC is different. So what's traditional or non-traditional to me could be very different. I think for me, again, as I sort of mentioned earlier, when I'm looking at underrepresented founders, I'm not looking for serial entrepreneurs per se. I'm looking for experience. I am looking for them to tell me a story that kind of exemplifies their grit, show me how they've taken challenges and have been able to make those work. Underrepresented founders who can get into rooms quickly, show me, like, when they tell me I've already met with these VCs and they're already looking at me, I always like that. To me, that's super impressive, because they're not easy to get those meetings, right? I also look for, who their advisors are, right? So like I mentioned, they may not be serial entrepreneurs, but what is, who's advising them, who's on their board per se, that can help fill in those blind spots potentially. So that is something that I tend to look for, or ask if they don't have it, is just, who do you go to when you have a question around, depending on what the company is, cybersecurity, or strategic sales, or breaking in from B2B to B2C, you know what I mean? So those are sort of the things that I look at, but I don't know if they would be considered non-traditional.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add.
I just say one really quick thing is, your community, like, results speak louder than anything else. Like what DFX is doing is a great example of that. When your community leads, the network effects of doing what you're doing, especially in a market where, there are not a lot of people that look like you that are leading this. That adds so much credibility. So lean into that, build, wait lists, build communities outside of paid ads, outside of those traditional paid channels, to show how you're driving it. And then the second one is lived experience. If you can painfully describe a specific problem that you faced, Ella, you faced while you were fundraising for your first company, right? And now a community like DFX opens up the door. It really helps drive more credibility. So lean into that superpower that, Jennifer, Sabrina, Alice, all of them mentioned as being that underrepresented founder, and use that as a door opener.
Well said.
That. Yeah. Big heart for that. Ella, I'll pass it back to you. I know that we're going to jump into breakout rooms, so I'll leave it to you.
Jennifer, Archita, Alice, Sabrina, thank you ladies so much for your time today. We appreciate you so much. Guys, make sure to connect on LinkedIn. If you're in New York, you got to head to one of Jennifer's events. If you're in Germany, you got to hit up Archita, and then we have Dubai and all of these incredible places globally that we can connect you to. So if you want to stick around for breakout rooms, Jesse and I will be leading those. And we really appreciate your time today. These have been 2 incredible panels, and it's the first of many.
Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.